Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome into a loot item tier list. Guys, if you play the Bazaar for a while, you're going to see a lot of loot items. You're going to see it as a level reward. You're going to see it as something you get from Boomerang with Pig. You're going to see it with the Monster Ranch event. Sorry, Monster Ranch just sounded kind of weird out loud. But anyways, there's some that are game breaking and there's some that are just okay. And so today we're kind of going to cover which is which, you know. When should you be taking certain ones? What's good? Let's get into it. Guys, if you like this content, please drop a like and subscribe. Helps the channel tremendously. Beyond that, guys, 3 tiers, okay? We simplified it down from the last one. 3 tiers. OP, solid, and awful. I used to have a different tier. It was called situational but solid, and I figured I would just combine it. So starting first and foremost, let's go Cinders. Cinders is solid. Now, Cinders is a little situational. You need to be running a burn build. But if you have literally like any burn item, add a Cinders on it, it's very strong. Right? Like, very strong. If you take a lighter, you add 1 burn to it, instead of doing, 1 plus 2 damage, it now does 1 plus 2 plus 3. 6 damage. So instead of doing 3, you do 6. You just double your damage. So, like, very little amounts of burn, which is what Cinders gives you, can be very, very strong, very, very powerful. Beyond that, burn is very unique in the fact that when you apply it, it ticks down, so, like, your burn counter gets smaller. So adding higher amounts of burn makes it so like your burn eventually will like stack on top of itself and increase. Because like if you take a lighter, for example, right, 2 burn on 3 seconds, after two ticks, like 1 second, all your burn's gone. If you apply a Cinders, now it's 3 ticks, and eventually if you had like 7 burn on a lighter, by the time those 3 seconds went off, it would tick 6 times. You would still have 1 burn remaining. You'd add another 6, whatever, 7, whatever, and it is infinite. So Cinders is very good, especially because the more burn you have, the more it allows you to like start going infinite with your burn. Add Cinders if you can on a burn. Very good. Eagle Talisman, also very solid. This item's pretty much never bad, which is why I think it's solid. Basically, I think it gets even better in the late game. Eagle Talisman early is okay, but I think if you are running an item early game and you put an Eagle Talisman on it, you're less likely to have that item later in the game, because you get it so early, than you will be like if you get an Eagle Talisman day 10 and put it on something like a fixer-upper, you're probably going to have that fixer-upper the whole game. Whereas if you put it on a katana early game, it's good and the crit could be quite meaningful, but you're less likely to carry it with you the whole game. So I think it gets better late, but I think it's good. Ult points of the game. Extra crit chance is always good. Extract, very similar to burn. Very similar to burn. Adding like 1, 2... I think it starts at 2. Adding 2 extra poison to your items, very strong. Not something to scoff at, and yeah, it's very much just like the burn one, except poison doesn't naturally decrease in like its counter unless your opponent is healing. So, little different there, but extract, also very solid. Getting into the OP, feather. And I'm actually going to throw insect wing there, make it a joint thing. Cooldown in general is very OP. In the Bazaar, you're going to have a lot of very synergistic builds. You're going to have basically just builds that feed off of each other, where one thing triggers one thing, and it triggers the next thing, and so on and so on. Back to the original. Dually, great example. Everything triggers off the core and with each other. Cooldown for that reason is just insane. Even if you don't have a super synergistic build like that, making sure your items go off faster and more often is very critical. Feather can be insane, especially at gold rank it's 6%, diamond rank it's 8% off every item on your board and stash. That's a tremendous amount of cooldown. Tremendous. Insect wing is also very good. You're not going to complain at that. I think it's a little less good than feather just because feather offers so much like cooldown. But insect wing can be a very good thing for a particular item. Like if you have a powder keg or if you have like a double whammy, putting specifically like 12% CDR on a diamond insect wing on that, insane. Very good, very OP. If I go to the Monster Ranch, I'm usually looking for cooldown, and I'm very happy with it. Gland is solid. The reason Gland is solid is because it's never, like, negative, or, like, it never does nothing. Or it's like Extract, for example. If you don't have any poison items, it does nothing. If you get Extract as a Pygmalion, you don't have any, like, you have nothing. You just sell it for gold, right? At least Gland gives you some regen. Now, it's a lot better early game, because I think small amounts of regen are a lot more meaningful early. Obviously, you can have late game max with like 200 regen, whatever. Gland is very good. If you see it at like the curio shop, whatever, day 1, day 2, you can buy it. For 2 gold, sell it for 1 gold for a net of 1 gold, 1 regen. Totally worth it. I think it's really good. You're not going to be mad at Gland, but you're not going to be like raving about it. So I think it gets like a respectable tier. Definitely not on the same tier as these other 3, but because it's a nice boon, you can't ever be mad. Same with Gunpowder. And you could even make an argument that Gunpowder would be OP, and I'm totally willing to listen to you guys on that. Gunpowder, I'm not going to put higher just because it is situational. I think something has to be truly, truly broken that's situational to be an OP. It's this one. But Gunpowder is a really nice addition to a lot of builds. If you're playing dually, you have things like Battery, you have Atomic Clock, you have Uzi. If you're playing Vanessa, you have things like Double Barrel, Pistol Sword. All of that stuff really appreciates ammo. Dive weights, love me some dive weights. You know, you can even do Pig and do it on that, oh, I can't remember that ammo item that he has. That's the Frost one. All good. All very, very good. And I think that if you have an item in your build that requires ammo and you're like, this keeps running out of ammo, I want to have more ammo on it, Gunpowder's amazing. Love Gunpowder for that. But I think it's just because it's not every single build, unless you're maybe Vanessa, I can't put it in OP, but it's very, very strong. In terms of awful, we're going to have a nice little run here. Medkit. What's so bad about Medkit? You're maybe wondering. You're like, well, it gives a buff, like Cinders and Extract do. That's true. The problem is, Medkit is too situational. I don't think there's enough healing items going around to really have Medkit be like, oh, I can like buff this healing item. It's like, what healing item? Like, what are you running? Bushel? Reasonable, I guess, but the other problem with Medkit is the values it gives are really, really small. Because a bronze Medkit is going to give +5 healing to whatever heal item. If you have a heal item that goes off, you know, 6 times in a fight, that's 30 healing. That's not bad. But like, it's not that much, you know? Maybe early game it's solid, but it's like, it's not really. Falls off super hard too. And it's just like, a lot of times you don't have a heal item, and if you do, it's not that much healing, right? Pelt. Pelt's awful. Not in a vacuum. Like, if you get Pelt as a reward from like either a boss fight or even just a random loot item, you're never going to be mad. And that's the thing about loot items. Like, you're never going to be super, super upset. Like, even if they're worse, they're pretty mid, you know, or like respectable. The problem is like when you compare Pelt to the other loot items, it is really bad because all Pelt does is sell for gold. And its problem is it doesn't sell for like double gold, it doesn't sell for more gold, nothing like that. It sells for the exact same amount of gold as any other loot item would at the respective tier. So like a diamond feather sells for the same as a diamond pelt, except diamond feather also gives 8% CDR on every single thing you have, board and stash. So it's not that it's that bad, like if you look at it objectively, but in comparison to everything else, it's horrible. You know what I mean? Scrap is like Medkit, but I think honestly even arguably worse. The values you get from Scrap are just horrific. You just get no freaking shield from selling this thing. And then also, you're just by no means guaranteed to have a shield item on your board. I mean, sometimes you will, but it's like Scrap is such a bad feeling, and it just doesn't offer anywhere near the same power that something like Eagle Talisman would. I could be wrong, and I will end up showing like the Scrap image, whatever, of its effect, but I'm pretty sure at Bronze it gives you 3 shield or 6 shield, but either way, those are terrible numbers. Terrible, terrible, terrible numbers. Sharpening Stone is solid, and the reason I think it's solid is early game it's very strong. 5 damage on an item that deals damage I think is better typically than like Medkit. Also, with Sharpening Stone, you're way more likely to have a weapon. Like, I swear almost every build in the game ends with a weapon on it. Not always, like you have library Mac builds, stuff like that. You know, not like freeze Pygmalion builds, stuff like that. But for the most part, pretty much every build can appreciate a Sharpening Stone. It's just so versatile. Early game, it can add a lot of power to something like Katanas or Fang. Late game, I really like it. I might be a little biased as a Pygmalion player, but Caltrops, Atlatl, both really appreciate a Sharpening Stone, even very late into the game. Very good for like Jabalion drum setups, Crook setups, that kind of thing. So I think it's always solid. Like, it's kind of like Gland. Like, Gland is very good early game, falls off late. I think Sharpening Stone is very much the same, unless you have something specific like Atlatl that really wants a buff to get more cooldown. But it's solid. Snowflake's OP in my opinion. And the reason is, I know it's situational, but especially on something like blue beetles, where at diamond rank you're going to freeze 3 items for 0.5 seconds. You sell the Snowflake, you add 0.5 to your freeze duration, now you're selling 3 items, you're freezing 3 items for a second. So you just doubled your freeze duration. You just added a second and a half of freeze every time your beetle goes off. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous item. It's definitely a lot better on things that freeze many targets as opposed to like one target for a long time. Because if you target freeze something for 4 seconds, you're like, okay, I'm going to freeze one item for 4 seconds. You add half a second onto it. Okay, now I'm freezing it for 4.5. That's still really good. It's not quite the same as like beetles where, you know, instead of freezing 3 things for 0.5 seconds, now you're freezing 3 things for a full second. Pretty ridiculous. Pretty much an always take if you have freeze items in my opinion, but you know, up there with cooldown depending on what you're trying to do. Just really nice to have. Also, just so you guys know, it only shows up at diamond tier, and as well as just something to point out, Gunpowder only shows up at silver tier or above. Same with upgrade hammer and I call it like blood vial. I think it's Vial of Blood though. They only show up at silver tier or above. So if you're getting bronze loot items, just remember to take this out of the pool, this out of the pool, and these 2 out of the pool. But very good. Increasing your freeze duration. Freeze is like, beyond destroying an item, the strongest CC effect in the game. Truffles is awful. Truffles is very situationally good with Pig. If you're running something like Fixer Upper, you can sell it to give more value on your Fixer Upper, which is quite nice. Beyond that, though, it's pretty bad. It's basically Pelt, but in essence gives you less gold. So I don't love Truffles for that reason. It's just one of these that, unless you're Pig, where as a niche effect, it doesn't do anything, and it just gives you gold, which is fine. Like, gold is good, but just compared to what everything else offers, it's bad. Upgrade Hammer's OP. The reason Upgrade Hammer's OP is that it upgrades items. It's very strong, especially at Diamond, it's insane. And if you can get it from Monster Ranch at Diamond, it's really good. At Silver tier, you're going to upgrade a bronze item, so if you get a Silver tier loot item, this can be really good early. At Gold tier, it's going to upgrade a silver or lower item. Usually you're just upgrading a silver to gold though. Very good. At Diamond, again, it upgrades any item, any tier, so you can upgrade from gold to diamond. It's really nice, especially if you're in like kind of the awkward point. At level 7, you get to a free upgrade where you can upgrade an item from silver to bronze, or sorry, silver to gold. At level 13, you get upgraded any item. But you have 6 levels there where you don't have a guaranteed upgrade on your item from gold to diamond. And so that's where something like Upgrade Hammer can be really nice if you have like a very key part of your build. You're like, I need to get this to diamond. Finally, I think probably the best one. I'm just gonna say it, the best one. Maybe cooldown. I love cooldown that much. XP. If you guys watch this channel, you know I'm a huge XP junkie, big XP believer. Vial of Blood is literally good in any build. Literally good. Like, there's no exceptions as far as I'm aware where you're like, oh shit, I really wish I had less XP. It's so good. It's just free XP. It's silver, it's 1, gold, it's 2, diamond, it's 3. It's never bad. Now, sometimes, if you're picking between something like Feather or XP at the Monster Ranch, it can become a little blurry, but if you just take it at face value, XP from Blood Vial is very insane. Very insane. Always strong. XP is very good. It helps you get ahead on levels, which is more skills, more upgrades, more health. Early game 2, 3, 4, it's more board slots. It's very good to be ahead of levels. XP is insane. It allows you to win fights that you might not have won for like no reason. Very good. And it's just, you're never going to be mad at XP as a monster reward. Like, not a lot, or like loot reward, whatever. Any way to get it, you're never going to be mad at it. Alright guys, well, that's all I had in terms of this tier list. Hope you guys enjoyed. Beyond that, I did want to say something outside of the Bazaar, so if you guys just clicked here for the Bazaar content, totally fine. I respect that immensely. That's what this video is about. But beyond that, guys, I just want to say, like, I don't know how you guys are doing, but I think for a lot of people, the world is in a really tough spot right now. I think a lot of people are struggling. A lot of people are doing poorly. Not gonna lie, like, I had a really tough day today. Hasn't been my brightest, like, week. But I just want you guys to know that, like, if you are going through something like that, are struggling, that, you know, you are not alone, and there is absolutely other people, you know, who can share in that story, share your experience. But also, I just want you guys to know that you really do matter, really are cared about, really are loved. You know, you make a difference in your communities, you make a difference to your families, stuff like that. And I don't know if any of you guys needed to hear that today, or I don't know if anybody will hear it today, but for some reason I just felt like it was right to say, because I myself did not have a good day today, and I want you guys to know that, like, if you're having something like that, you're not alone, and it's not just me. It might be people around you also. So also check in on your loved ones. Anyways, guys, beyond that, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully it was meaningful. I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope to see you in the next one. Cheers.
Just trying to get this surface, we'll get out to the phone. I'm just